Well, the intent to table that motion again now, because this isn't the first time we've talked about emergency care and emergency response, particularly for rural locations in County Clare like North and West Clare, is because in the context of the location of a new hospital and looking at enhancing the emergency response services in the Midwest, I think it's really important that we look at this very practical, doable action, where if we put additional ambulances and additional emergency response vehicles, like in one sense, for people who live up in remote areas of North and West Clare, you still have to get to the hospital wherever it is, and those services need to be enhanced. The wait time needs to be reduced, and if you are in a really emergency situation, you need somebody to get to you where you are as quickly as possible, to give you the emergency treatment and then transport you in for further treatment into the hospital. That was the main thrust of the motion, along with, I think, we have a great hospital in Ennis with the injuries unit and the other units that are in there. I think being able to bring people who have relative injuries in to be treated in Ennis and dropped off there, which isn't the case at the moment, and into the medical assessment unit in Ennis, I think could potentially take some pressure off of UHL.
And how much of an effect do you actually think that would have if they could bring people to Ennis instead? I think it would be. I think it could potentially have an enormous effect. Well, any effect in context of the challenges that we see in UHL at the moment is welcome. And like if you have a broken hand or a broken leg or something, or something that can be treated and stabilised, first of all in Ennis, that would be a huge benefit. And I think it would further add to people's, reassure people who live far away that help is closer by and that there is more of it. And it's an essential part of enhancing emergency services in the Midwest anyway, because no matter where the hospital is located, and Councillor Denny Gould referenced emergency air ambulance and that, which does come to emergency situations in North and West Clare, that would also be welcome. But I think first of all we need to, and I have been in engagements recently with Minister Jennifer Carroll McNeill and Deputy Joe Cooney, who have assured that this is a priority in the short term. So what I want to do is join the dots between the National Ambulance Services, the HSE, and improving emergency responses. And I suppose, have you been hearing from your own constituency people that are having struggles, especially because there is very little accessibility in North and West Clare?
Well, I think it's a question of adding services to make it a lot less, in some ways, hit and miss. You can be really fortunate if an ambulance is based in Ennistymon and something happens to you in the scanner, it's going to be there really quickly. So if there are two ambulances, then your chances of that ambulance having been diverted somewhere else is lessened. So and a lot of it is people's concern and anxiety over what if something happens to me. And I think this is part of rebuilding, because let's face it, the confidence in terms of emergency services and a lot, albeit the people who are working in the services are extraordinary people and delivering great services when you get to them. This is about getting them to you, or you to them as quickly as possible. And I think that is where you would see people, feeling it reassured if we add to those services as asked. And I'll keep putting the pressure on with Minister Carroll McNeill, who committed, and with Deputy Joe Cooney and others to make sure that happens.